Hi everybody and welcome to another tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to make this really cool and unique deluxe bracelet, and this was designed by Looming Cyrus on Instagram, so I will bring up his profile in just a second here. So here we are at Looming Cyrus's profile. Make sure to get his name down. I'll have it in the description box below as well. And just a quick overview of his profile. He takes some really nice outside pictures and you can just see that his color combinations are really nice and they're pretty cool. So I will have his name in the description box below. Make sure to check him out on Instagram. Again, that's Looming Cyrus. He is a very big Miley Cyrus fan, so I think that's pretty cool. Today, to make this bracelet, you're only going to need one loom, which is really nice, and it is in the stagger configuration, so pretty much anyone can make this if you have like a Wonder Loom or a Crazy Loom. And you're also going to need a hook, a C-clip, and 4 or 5 colors of bands. Today I'm using 4 just like I did in this bracelet. And in the center here there is dark green cap bands, and on this outside edge here there is dark green cap bands as well. And I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I'll show you what colors I use as I go along with this bracelet, but make sure to definitely stay tuned for the very end because this bracelet is really unique and I almost couldn't figure this out the first time I tried it. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So first we're going to lay the bands, which are these Tin Man medieval bands on the border. And I'm going to be using the darkest green from I think it's the pink mixed camo pack, or the pink, yeah. So anyway, all you're going to do is start on this bottom center peg and lay a normal border going out to the left and out to the right, and then you're going to go all the way down your loom until you reach the second to last pegs on both sides and then turn into the center. So the laying of the bands aren't really that difficult, but the looping you definitely have to pay attention to. So when you are looping, make sure that you pay close attention because it can get really confusing really quickly. And then once you reach the second to last pegs, all you have to do is turn into the center here. Like that. So it should look like this at the end of your loom. Now come back to the beginning of your loom, and now what we're going to do is be placing this dark green outer chain here. And so I'm going to be using, I think it's the lightest color in the skin tone pink pack, and I apologize if you see like the color that's right, like the lightest bit darker than it, but slightest, sorry. But yeah, so anyway, all you're going to do is start from this outside peg and this outside peg, and you're going to go all the way down until you reach the second to last peg on your loom, and then I'll show you what you do when you get down there. But you're just laying this second kind of border on top of your first border, except for these first 2 pegs. I actually need to get more skin tone bands because they don't have them at my Michaels, but I really like the colors, not necessarily just for like making figurines and stuff, but just because I like the colors in them. And once you reach the second to last peg, you're going to go ahead and follow that border into the center, which is a little bit different from at the beginning of your loom because we did not follow it into the center. But once you have your second border completed, it should look like this, and then you're going to come back to the beginning of your loom. And now what we're going to be doing is placing just the center single chain, which I used white Persian for in this bracelet, and I'm going to be using the burgundy brown. So let's go ahead and get started. You're going to start on the center peg and just do a simple single chain down the center. Also, make sure that you're pushing your bands down as you go. Once you reach the end of your loom, it should look like this now, and your single chain should just end at this last peg. Now what we're going to do is come back to the beginning of our loom and place our last color, but not our last layer. But if you have 5 colors, then you will be placing your second to last layer. So I'm going to be using the hot pink from the mixed camouflage pack. That's like the pink camo. So anyway, all you're going to do is be placing X's down your loom. So starting on this left peg, you're going to go up and into the center. From the right peg, up and into the center. And then from the center peg, back out. And the center peg back out. And then you're going to do this again, so go into the center, and then back out. And you're just going to do this all the way down your loom, and then I'll show you the last layer that we place. And when you finish, this is what your bands should look like. So once you have that, go ahead and come back to the beginning of your loom, and we're now going to place our last bands, which can be whatever color you want. I'm going to be using the burgundy brown again. And all you're going to be doing is putting cap bands on all the center pegs except this first one. And you're just going to put it in the center of the X, so just twist on that cap band. Also, if you'd like to use your hook or your fingers to do it a different way, it's up to you. I just like to do it right here on the loom. And once you have all of these center ones placed, you can also place one on this last peg, and I'm going to use burgundy brown for that as well. And then once you have finished that, go ahead and turn your loom around so that the arrows are pointing towards you, and now we can start the looping process. But again, just definitely make sure to pay attention, because it's confusing if you just go ahead and try to make it without watching the tutorial. So anyway, what you're going to do is just loop out these X's like regular. So put your hook underneath the cap band and grab that top band and pull it out to itself, and then this band out to itself, this band to itself, and this band to itself, just like that. Then you're going to go up to the next cap band and do the same thing. So go underneath and grab the top band and pull it back to itself. The drawstrings on my jacket are falling over the camera. So anyway, once you have that down, just go ahead and do that all the way down your loom. I'm going to go ahead and put this down and do it from this angle, but then the easy part turns into a challenging part. So you also have to loop these X's right in order and place them right in order. If you do not place them in the correct order, you will have a lot of trouble making this bracelet because it really depends on the order that you place your bands. So once you have looped out all of your X bands, go ahead and just push them down a little bit. You don't need to push them down super far, but once you have finished that, go ahead and come back to the beginning of your loom. And now what we're going to be doing is lifting over the very bottom bands on all of your pegs, or the pink bands, sorry. So on these first two pegs, it's going to be a little bit different because you only have two bands, so you're just going to lift over that bottom one. And over here as well, you're just going to grab that bottom band and lift it over. But then it gets a bit more difficult because you have 4 bands on this peg. So if you want, you can separate the 3 bands from the bottom band, and you really only want to grab the bottom one. So lift that one over and release. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull this up so you can see the 3 bands on the top and then the bottom band, which you're going to pull up and release. This bottom band, you pull up and release. And you will go ahead and do this all the way down the loom. Right now I'm going to go ahead and continue just doing this a little bit closer to the camera since it's harder for me to see when it's set down. And then at the top here, you will only have 2 bands, so again, just grab that bottom band and pull it over. Then I'm going to come back to my other side, and this side is a little bit more difficult for me. So it might take me a little bit longer, but I'm trying to go as fast as I can just so that I don't take up too much time. I don't want you to get bored watching this. And I know some of this isn't on camera, but again, on the top, you're just going to pull this over and release. And then push your bands down, come back to the beginning of your loom. Also, my mom and my sister just got home, so it's going to be a little bit noisy. So anyway, once you have finished that, you're going to want to go ahead and go underneath of this capping band, and you're going to pull forward that single chain band up just one, and then what you're going to do is go underneath of the capping band, grab the next top band, which is your second border. You're going to pull that out, grab the second border, pull it out, and then once you have that, we're not going to do anything to these, but you are going to go ahead and pull up this next pink-ish band. And once you have that pulled forward, now what we're going to do is grab the next bottom band on your peg, and if I can grab it, it should be this one, and you're going to pull it over and release. And then you're going to pull forward your single chain band again, grab this bottom band, pull it over and release, pull forward this band, pull the bottom one over, release, and continue doing this all the way down your loom. So again, I'm going to do this a little bit up close to the camera just so I can see, and some of it might not be on camera, so sorry about that. But it's just the same process, and when you get to the end, also I will have to show you what to do, because it's not exactly the same as the rest of this. So I'm almost at the end of my loom, so what you're going to do is you're just simply going to pull forward this last pink band, and you're not going to pull this band over here. So you should have 3 bands here. You should have your pink, your dark pink, and then your light pink again. I'm going to go ahead and do this to the other side of my loom, and then once I do that, you have one more step before you can loop the center. Well, you can loop the center chain whenever, but we have one more step before we can loop our actual border. So I'm going to continue doing this, and sorry if it's noisy downstairs. I don't know if my tablet's going to pick up the noise, but there's a conversation going on downstairs, so. So it's just the same process, going down your loom and lifting it over. And then I'm almost at my last one. Up here you're just going to, make sure that you only grab that pink band, pull it forward, and you're not going to do anything else to that. So then what you're going to do is, I'm going to go ahead and set my loom down real quick just so I can show you what it should look like. These top 2 bands you should just push down. And then what we're going to do is just loop the single chain. So I'm going to go ahead and just loop this forward. So it's just a quick looping step, but we also have to do one more step and then the final border step, which can get a little bit confusing, so definitely make sure to pay attention. Okay. So once you have that single chain pulled forward, come back to the beginning of your loom, and what we're going to actually be doing is taking these pink bands off of the pins. So what you're going to do is, from the outside, I'm just going to grab both of those pink bands and pull it off the pin. Same here, I'm going to grab this bottom one and then the top one. Make sure you grab them both at the same time, pull up and over the pin and release it. Grabbing this band and then the other part of it, pull it over the pin and release. So all you should have left on your pin is 2 pink bands, and you're going to go ahead and do that all the way down your loom, just picking those up and releasing. Again, this is going to be closer to the camera, but don't get confused. Like, don't go to the inside and try and grab a bunch of bands. Just from the outside, grab those 2, pull them over and release. So it's a pretty quick step. And once you reach the end, you're going to go ahead and leave these 3 here. You're not going to change them. You're just going to leave them. Don't touch them. And then come back to this side and repeat. So, oops, wrong side of my hook. Pull over those 2. And these 2. Make sure they go all the way over your pin. And it's again a little bit difficult for me to do this on the right side. So I'm going to go ahead and do this down the rest of my loom, and then I'll show you the last step. Oops. Make sure your hook doesn't get stuck. Again, once you reach here, just make sure that you leave those top bands alone. Then go ahead and push down the remaining pink bands that are on your pin, and come back to the beginning. Then all you're going to do is go underneath of this capping band, grab your border band, pull it to the outside, pull this band to the outside, and just pull this bottom one forward. And I'm going to go ahead and do this down the rest of my loom, and then I'm going to pull this off. So I'm hoping this is going to look good because I tried to use colors I think would look good together. And once you get to the top, you're just going to go under all of those bands and pull this one up into the inside. Then come down to here and pull this side up as well. Oops, I can't get that band. And then once you get to the top, pull this last one up and into the center. I know it's a little bit off camera here. So it just should be pulled up and into the center. Then what you're going to do is I like to just pull this cap band off first. I'm going to grab my extension band, stick my hook down through all of this, pull this through, and then just kind of wiggle this off the pins. Make sure you don't stress out your bands too much when you pull this off, but it is a little bit hard to get them off, so just wiggle them. And pull it a little bit, and this is what it should look like. So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching, and make sure to give a thumbs up and subscribe. I will have Looming Cyrus's name in the description box below, so make sure to check out his account on Instagram and give him a follow for me. Also, this is the reverse side. It doesn't look as unique as the front side, but it's still pretty nice. So anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I hope to see you next time.